Hello, I'm Vinit Ravi. In this video, we study what is consumer surplus. Consumer surplus is defined as the difference between total amount of the consumer are willing to pay and the amount that he actually pays for the commodity. That means consumer surplus is equal to maximum price willing to pay minus actual price they paid. So let's say, an example, that you want to a mobile phone at rupees around 20,000, but when you went to the shop and buy the same mobile at 18,000, so the difference between 20,000 and 80,000 is nothing but we call consumer surplus. So one thing is important to note is consumer surplus have been derived from law of diminishing marginal utility. We see how.
Let's see the example. So there is a table of example, and we took the example where consumer consuming a product, and we called it X. So X, the price of product is 30. In first column, we in first column it is a unit of number of units. In second column, it is marginal utility. So we have to calculate consumer surplus. So for first unit, consumer willing to pay 80 rupees, but as we say, the price of a product is 30. So as the formula of consumer surplus, and what the say is consumer surplus is equal to maximum price, which is consumer willing to pay minus actual price, and that means 80 minus 30 is equal to 50. So, like that, when consumer again go to buy a product, sorry. So at the second unit, he at the second unit marginal utility falls just because of the the law of diminishing marginal utility comes into a play. So, likewise, uh, by the formula of consumer surplus, maximum price, which is consumer willing to pay minus actual price. So, for second unit, consumer get 40 rupees of consumer surplus. Likewise, for Unit 3, the marginal utility is 60, and for Unit 4, marginal utility is 50, and Unit 5, marginal utility is 40. Unit 6 is marginal utility is 30. So, Unit 7, it is marginal utility is 20. Unit 8, marginal utility is 10. At the level of sixth unit, it will be a zero because the consumer delivery the utility of 30, he is paying 30. So there is no excess of utility. Uh, as consumer surplus, consumer paying what is the actual cost, and the cost is equal to utility he is deriving. So 30 minus 30 will be will given him no excess, so there is no surplus. Thus the consumer surplus at this level is zero. And when the marginal utility furthermore decrease at the consumption of the seventh and eighth, more decrease at the consumption of will have no consumer surplus because consumer surplus already reached its lowest level, that is 0. So if we take the sum of all the level of consumer surplus, that would be 150. So at the end, consumer should stop the consumption or at the sixth unit. Let's understand the thing better with the help of graphical representation. So the graph which display consumer surplus, we have shown in the graph that is consumer surplus rupees 80. So that rupees 80 is the utility. So he purchase let's say he purchases first chocolate, he gets the satisfaction at rupees 80, and the satisfaction level, and then the satisfaction level goes decreasing because he buy more and more chocolates, so his satisfaction level goes on falling at the level of let see that the previous table. So at the sixth unit, the consumer surplus is 0. So now what do you think the consumer has actually spent? So let's see expenditure. So how to find a expenditure? Look, we consider, we plot number of units at x-axis and the price at y-axis. The number of units, that means the sixth unit is the last unit where consumer surplus going to 0. So and the price, equilibrium price, is 30. So the area of rectangle, yeah, area of rectangle says, just a second, look, area of rectangle. Let's see, area of rectangle. So this is length and this is breadth. So area of rectangle is equal to length into breadth. So that means 30 into 6. So 30 into 6 is equal to 180. So 180 is our total expenditure. So as we calculate the expenditure which we spend, actual expenditure which we spend on our product. So likewise, now we calculate uh, consumer surplus with the help of graph. So so we all know the above portion of equilibrium price is consumer surplus. So I'll just uh, shade the portion of consumer surplus. So this is the area of consumer surplus. So if you look carefully, it is actually a right angle triangle. So an area of right angle triangle says that the formula of right angle triangle is half of height, half of height into half of base into base. So this how we see the height between 30 to 80. It's like 50 rupees, and this is 6. So 50 into 6 into half, as formula said. So the answer is 150. So this is how we calculate consumer surplus by the graphical representation. So this is all about consumer surplus. Hope you understand. Uh, let's see the limitations of consumer surplus. So I already told you that consumer surplus is based on the law of diminishing marginal utility. So whatever the shortcoming to the diminishing marginal utility carried forward to the theory of consumer surplus. So as we see, the consumer uh, limitation of consumer surplus is consumer surplus can't be measured precisely. Second one, it is necessaries. Uh, Third one, affected by availability of substitute, prestige value, marginal utility of money, and cardinal rules. So that's it. Thank you.